Good afternoon. We are in our second to the last session of the Michigan Co-op Summer Virtual Conference. And this session is going to be on digital badges. Gail Bliss from Niles Community Schools, who is the partnership director there, will be presenting. But first we're going to have a word from our sponsor. I've always wanted to say that. Lynn Woodley from Bookshark is sponsoring this session and the next one. And so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so that Lynn can start sharing and give us a little update of what they have available.
All right, you can see my screen, right?
I can.
Awesome. Well, we now have, thank you for letting me be here today. And then also, I really appreciate the time for you to have me on here. So I want to talk to you about what we are releasing. We have our virtual component ready. So you guys were talking earlier about Canvas and Brightspace. We are on Canvas. We bought the bells and whistles so that it looks good. So are you seeing the little girl?
Yep.
Okay, it's not moving. I just wonder why it's not moving. So it's supposed to be moving. But anyway, we have the bells and whistles for all of the virtual that you guys need for your platform. So we are still a literature-rich curriculum with the now virtual assessment part. We stay with that virtual platform to do the assessment, but then on our other side, we keep the books in the hands of your families. I know that this time and this year is a really unique situation where you're having a lot more families come to you guys. So this is one of those programs that actually they'll love doing and enjoy having their family bond. We now will also have K through 5 national standard science packages, and those are going to be available virtually as well. So I look forward to sharing that information with you. If you want to do a presentation with me, I can show you what our site looks like on Bookshark Virtual in the Canvas site so that you can see it in a teacher view and also the student view. We're really excited to be releasing this piece and sharing it with your families, because I do know that families, not only in Michigan, but across the nation, love using Bookshark and love the results of it. And I believe you would love the results as well. So I look forward to having you guys reach out. My email is lwoodley, WOODLEY, @bookshark.com. Please email me if you'd like to set up a meeting with me to be able to talk more in depth about our virtual platform for your families, or even call me at 720-215-6064. I look forward to talking with you guys. So reach out. We also have an agreement, a 1-year agreement with Oxford. They've set our piece in their platform, and so we've set up an agreement with them. So if you'd like to go through them, theirs is a little different. It's more just the comprehensive questions, and they've set it up for that. So we're working with them as well. So if you want to talk to them about that, they have that available as well, or you can get our piece as well. So there's 2 different ways you can handle that. So thank you very much, Lisa. I appreciate the time. And again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out.
And Lynn's contact information, besides being in this video, I'll also be sending out all the sponsor contacts with a follow-up email a few days after the conference is over. Okay, Gail, you want to go ahead and share your screen? I can see it. Are you muted?
There we go. Do you see my
your slideshow? Yep.
my slideshow? Okay, perfect. All right. So digital badging was something I was looking into several years ago, and then we're going to implement it this year because we think it's a good way to incentivize our kiddos to complete more lessons, basically. With Canvas, the badges are included in there, so that was helpful to us. in doing some research on badges, I found that a lot of people were using them. They're using them for professional development. They're using them for courses for children. And when you're looking at, in real life, things like Scouts and other things like that, kids will be motivated a little bit more if they've got something to achieve at the end of it. With digital badging, you've got that same concept, only they're virtual. You can make them certifiable and customizable. They can be collected. Students that are, when they go through Badger or Badge, with us, we use Canvas uses a program called Badger. They can collect those badges and put them in a backpack, okay? You can create your own badges, which is kind of what we do. They can be as complex or as simple as you want them. In order for a virtual badge to be considered to be of any value beyond the organization, they have to have certain metadata that describes them and helps to make them more verifiable. We use them not only for our learners, but we also use them for our community experts in their class and with our parents in their virtual learning class that they have to learn, that talks about the partnership and all that's required of them. To be open badge compliant, they have to meet certain metadata requirements. Badger does. It has to have a badge name. It has to have a badge criteria. It has to have a badge URL, an issue date, an issuer, and then a recipient of that badge. And Badger is not a Canvas company. It's outside of Canvas. So if you wanted to use it with your organization, you could feasibly do that. I don't know who all they partner with and how it's paid for. I'm sure it's paid in the amount that we pay for Canvas. It's just part of their thing. There is a pro version that has more bells and whistles to it, but we don't really need that version of it. So the one we're using is the freebie version with Canvas. There's extra things that you can add to it. You can add standards to it. You can add additional information about us or the issuer. You can put an expiration date on it if you needed to. That's usually used for some of those organizations that use it for PD and they want an expiration date so that they have to come back and do it again. You can add to it evidence. So like if you're using this in a project-based kind of course, you could require that the badge have evidence attached to it. So if it was an art class or something like that on color, then you could request that the student upload some type of an art project that had color in it as part of the evidence to support the fact that this badge was earned for that particular standard. You can even have revocation and things like that too if you wanted to. We don't go into that obviously for our purposes. With Badger, you can customize your badges. You can put your logos on them. You can use your own images and add your titles to them. That's kind of what we did. We got either, I used a Presenter Media and used some of the badges in there and then added our own titles to it because you can do that in Presenter Media and created those. Carrie went out and found some nifty different colors of badges and used, what did you use, Carrie, to? Pixlr to add our contact number on our contact information on that. You define what earns that badge. It can be super simple or it can be complex. And that's the beauty of the badges is they fit whether you're using a traditional teaching model or competency-based or PBL. This is an example of what we've done with ours. We've taken a standard and we've attached it to, we put it on the badge and we've described what that standard is. And in Badger, you can go and look at the criteria and then you can look at the issuer. Now, once you get to the criteria, this is kind of tiny, but it talks about it gives the standard again. It gives the definition of the standard, and then it tells you what they had to do to earn that. So we're keeping ours pretty simple, and we're just saying that because our curriculum is set up in modules, and one module covers the standard, we're saying that they have to complete everything in the module and have at least a 60% or better mastery on the mastery assignment. Now, you could be more detailed. You could go in there and you could tell it, you know, this is what our modules are made up of, you know, those kinds of things. Since this is all internal and we don't expect this to go really outside of our institution, we weren't that detailed, but you could go super detailed in this if you wanted to. Creating them is super simple too with Badger. We go into an admin side of things. What's neat is that when you create your modules and you title your modules, when you go into the badge assignment, then those modules automatically populate, and all you need to do is bring in the badge, which is super cool. And then you can go over to identify what it needs to complete it, and that's one thing I really liked about it. I was super excited about how easy it was to do it, and the fact that so much of it was pre-populated by our modules. Our module information is in here, and then we just pretty much bring in our badge. So that was really super simple. And I'll show you what it kind of looks like for our kiddos. I'm going to go here into Canvas and use a student view. We're trying to gamify our stuff so it makes it a little bit more fun. So this year for our K-8, since we can only have one class, we kind of use the theme of Mission Impossible kind of thing. So we got this cute little video that the kids can watch if they want to. It doesn't have any noise or anything. It's just a little fun little ditty. And then we've got all these modules here. So if they go into, say, module 2, oh, you know what? I probably should reset because I was playing around with stuff in here. So I'll reset the student view. I don't know if I can do that now. But let's go into here. Reset student view. And then go in here. We'll see if it reset. Yep, there. Okay, it didn't reset for me. Anyway, they'll go in and they'll do, the first one is mission. We've got it set up here in our description to say that it's got to do all these things. It's got to either mark as done. This is a kindergarten one, so we have them read the instructions, then mark it as done, do the lesson, mark it as done. When they get to like a mastery assignment or something, then we can tell them they can score it. And if it scores 3 points or more, then that goes to the badge. As they go through this though, if they don't do something that's supposed to be done, then they don't earn their badge. And when they get to the badge, I don't know why I'm, okay. It won't let them earn, like this one we went through and we did everything. So they get their badge at the end. But if they didn't, it would tell them that they didn't earn their badge and they need to go back and keep working on things. So what we did this year was we gave them the option of they can earn the badge, which means they have to do more work. They have to do everything in the module. Or they can pick and choose what they want to complete in there. Like maybe they only want to get that 60%, so they'll only go in and do as many points as they need to get to the 60%. It's totally their option. But this made it a little bit more fun. We're trying to get our failure rate down. We were able to achieve decreasing our failure rate by 50% this last year, and we want to get it even down further. So we're hoping that this gamified version will help get them doing more lessons so that they get a passing grade more. nice thing about Badger is, like I said, when the students go in to, once they've earned their badge, they can go in and create an account with Badger and start collecting those badges. They don't have to create their account in Badger. That's purely optional for them, but they could. And so then if they go do something else in some other organization that also uses Badger, they can add that to their backpacks. So this is what a student backpack would look like. For the community experts, we did a theme of puzzle pieces. So they were earning puzzle pieces as they went through things. With the kids this year, we did the shields and the badges like that. But you can literally create any image you want for that badge to go along with your theme. And then they can further take those badges and they can put them into categories. So like I took those badges that were in my backpack and I put them into a community expert file or a Niles Virtual School file. And so if I went to some other organization, I could create a file for those and just keep accumulating my badges. Here is a link to a YouTube video on Badger, if you want to go look at that. They have, in their pro version, they have more reporting things on there so that you can see how many people attempted the badges, how many of them completed the badges. There's a lot. It's a pretty robust program if you want to go that deep into it. But for us, it was just, we're just scratching the surface, trying it out, seeing how our families like it. At the end of the year, we're asking them, did they like this new version, or do they want us to go back to the old version? But it's all about just trying to find new little getchy things to do with our online programs. And that's all I have to say.
Gail, can I ask you a question?
Yes, by all means.
So when they complete a set of badges in a particular grouping, do they get any kind of congratulations they've completed that grouping of badges, or is that the end? They just...
The badge is, earning the badge is their congratulations for that particular module. Getting a bunch of badges, I don't think so. It's just by virtue of the fact that they're collecting them in their backpacks.
I wonder if that would be in the pro, because it would be kind of cool if you know, through this whole thing, if they earned all of them, then it would be cool if they got a final hurrah badge. You know how when they in some games they do that, like if they got all their language arts badges.
we could do that. We could create additional badges if we wanted to at the very end that says, like on week 18, we could have a final badge that says, okay, if you earned all 18 badges, you get the special badge, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually are adding this, are contemplating adding this to our virtual piece. And we just haven't looked at it that deeply yet. And I thought, wow, that to have a completion badge of like language arts after they completed all those, or sign
definitely.
And then to have an end.
Yeah, you could do that. You can have badges set up for just individual, you know, like you said with language arts, say second grade language arts, you could have it set up where they're earning badges as they go along to kind of keep incentivizing them on those lessons each day, and then have something big at the end, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have a certificate at the end of each of our courses that we're going to have, but you know, maybe it's the means of getting the certificate is to complete the badges. I don't know. I'm just thinking as you're doing that, because we actually had looked at Badger because we are on Canvas.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. You can definitely do that, and if you need some help with figuring out how to do all that, feel free to reach out. I'm glad to help.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
I participated in a webinar this summer, well, this COVID time. I don't remember when exactly it was, but it was on badging, just in general, not through Badger, but badging in general. And and they've been talking about badges for, I mean, when I started teaching, so we're looking 2000, so we're looking at least 10, 20 years now.
Mhm.
And it's been slow to catch on. But the business world has used it for quite a long time. And we're like, when I went through college and was at first in the business world, you would get a printed certificate after you went through a workshop or something like that. And now those types of companies and providers are doing digital badges instead of the certificates. But the interesting thing that from that webinar was that, so, one of my concerns that I typed in the chat during that webinar was like, okay, let's say that the badging company goes out of business. I mean, technology companies are changing all the time. So like,
Right.
what would happen with your Badger backpack if Badger decides to go out and they out of business? And they said that the way that the badges are created, because of that thing you said at the beginning, Gail, about there's standards that you have to meet for all these badges,
Uh-huh.
they can easily be exported into another backpack program, another backpack software company. So they
Mhm.
can take their badges with them wherever they go,
Right.
And I would think if it were on a good LMS, there would be a way to capture that as well,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't lose them.
Well, one thing though that I thought was kind of interesting this year, Canvas added it, which was really cool. I found it by mistake. I was playing around because we were doing our stuff, and I completed, I think it was an assignment. And when I did, all of a sudden, all this confetti started flying around on the page and everything. So that was really kind of cool. I was like,
See, and
oh, the kids will like that.
yeah, we like that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. We actually we're looking at the beginning when we were looking at LMSs, we found one, and I don't remember what it was, but they, after the end of each finish of something, it didn't matter what it was, they would have a different picture and a congratulations of some sort on it. And
Yeah.
it was really cute, like
Yeah.
sometimes there were chickens with, squawking and saying, congratulations, they were just cute. And
Yeah.
they would give a child something to go, oh, wow, I finished that. And
Yeah.
different every time. So that was kind of cool. So that's how I was introduced. They didn't call those badges though.
Right. Any other questions?
I like that they included the standards as well.
Yeah.
That's a cool feature to that.
Yeah.
So Gail, can
We
you
decided to name them. Go ahead.
Can you share how you so an example? I mean, I know you showed us you showed us like the backpack kind of thing, but like just give an example. Like talk about what would a student do. So they get at the end of the module, at the end of the course, because each of your courses is a module, or
At the end of the module. So when we created our exploration class, it's like a specials class. So we have a couple of physical, PE assignments, a couple of art assignments, a couple of music assignments, things like that. So in their backpack, they'll be able to get a badge with a couple of music standard badges, a couple of PE standard badges, that kind of thing. So they could, in their backpacks, create folders for PE, for music, for all that, and eventually work on collecting all the standards if they wanted to.
from different modules or different courses?
Both. Each one of our modules covers a standard.
Okay.
And within that, we have multiple videos to watch. We have multiple things. We've got like stuff that has to do with vocabulary. We have the mastery is either a quiz or it's some kind of a demonstration that they understand what we were trying to get at. There's there's a log in there that tells us how much time, that's in there so that we know how much time they worked off of Canvas, because we're not expecting them to work their full amount of time online. We want them offline doing something.
Mhm.
It's a PE class, then there's like a skills and drills assignment, and it might suggest that they go in and have an exercise routine every day for a week, because maybe we were talking about the importance of exercise or something like that. And then they would have, well, let me look at this assignment, this particular one. The skills and drills, let me go in here and see what the skills and drills for this are. So there's several things in our module. We have our mission instructions, which explains to them exactly what's going to be expected of them in that module. Then we have the main lesson, and then we have 3 dig deepers. Then we have the mastery assignment. We have the related log, which just basically tells us how long they worked outside. Then we have a skills and drills. The skills and drills is an activity thing that talks about, like this one on this particular one is to make a log Monday through Friday, make a list of what they plan to do for the week, and then the amount of time they actually accomplished. And then they're supposed to talk about it with their parents and discuss maybe why they didn't do it, or what maybe they want to increase it or whatever. And then there's the 2-way. We do our 2-ways as discussions. So each week has a discussion opener, and then they respond to that. And then we have this cute little video that's a module check with these 2 little guys talking to each other to discuss if you've gotten everything done you're supposed to get done. And then you go on to the badge to see if you earned it. So that's for kindergarten through 2nd grade. So that's all the stuff that's in one module. And then, so they could, in theory, go look at the lesson, digest the lesson, and go to the mastery assignment. And if they score well on it, they could be done. But we want them to do more. So we're adding that badge to get them to do more.
Right. Right, to get more time and but more content in there for them.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so technically if somebody did that with each standard as a badge, they literally could earn a bunch of badges
Mm-hmm.
in a, I mean, I'm thinking for like a core course or something like that. I know yours is in a non-essential.
Well, theoretically, we could have added something to that, but we're trying to stay away from anything that even resembles core. So
Right.
one module, this one is a quiz, but some of them are ones where they have to write something up and submit it.
Mm-hmm.
So in that particular module, you could have more than one badge. You could have several badges that they could earn, kind of like with project-based learning, So like maybe they could earn a writing badge if the write-up request had specific things in there that were English standards,
Mm-hmm.
We just went the simplified version and went all the non-core stuff. So
Right.
that they could assume, like, we could give them a reading badge. Reading that they have to do. But nope, we're not going to do that. So
Yeah, so you're just going to start implementing this in the fall?
yes, this is our first year using badges. We used it on the parents when we started. We did a class called Kung Fu Canvas Parent, where we had them do different things. We had different colored belts, and the parents had to go through the yellow belt, and the green belt, and blue belt, and all these different belts. And so now when the parents are getting to a point where, which belt was that information in? And look for it. So the parents were introduced to kind of a badge system, although we didn't make it an actual badge because parents were already confused just going through Canvas and going through the modules, but we called it, a belt or whatever. And so that seemed to go over well with the parents. So then we thought, well, we'll make it a real badge and for the kids, a real digital badge for the kids, and see how that goes over.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, we'll have to, throughout the year, we'll have to talk about it and see how it's going and the lessons that you're learning from it.
Yeah.
I know that Oxford I don't know at which level. I think they were talking about badging for maybe their PD or something like
Mhm.
that. But I mean, like as I said, the badging conversation has gone round and round, many times. It's
Mhm.
just, in terms of adoptability of it, it's just much slower than I thought it would have. Because back when I heard it the first time, like I said, like 20 years ago, I thought, wow, yeah, that's going to be that's the next thing. Oh,
Yeah.
next thing's taken a really long time to get here.
Well, when I first saw it in there, I thought it was kind of complicated at first to make it happen. But
Mhm.
I actually sat down and did it. It wasn't that complicated. And so once I've done it and learned it, then it's pretty easy to make it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think it's how you use them. Part of the part with the badging where I say it's not being adopted, like um, the businesses do it, but you're a private business and you set your own standards or your own outcomes or whatever it may be. And I don't know if that's been the holdup in the school system of why we're not having badges. So we have the standards, but are they saying like, okay, well, if I create a badge for a certain standard, is the other school district going to accept that?
yeah.
When we
And I
talk
think
about
maybe
category.
they don't understand that each badge can contain a whole lot of information, so that they could, when they got that badge and they look at it, they could know for sure if they could accept that badge or not. Obviously, if they look at our badge descriptions, it's not going to say a whole lot. But then we're not anticipating anybody's taking our kindergarten standard and going somewhere else and worrying about whether or not it's accepted or not.
Right.
High school, like ball of wax.
Right. But if somebody did want their badges to be transferable to other things, they could put more in that description. And then,
Exactly.
so when the badge shows up in Badger, does it have the description with it then?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It has whatever you put in there. So under the earning criteria,
Mhm.
it will list everything that goes into earning that badge.
Okay.
Whatever you type in there, it will show up.
So that's where you could write an actual standard and then
Yep.
like put the number of the standard and what that standard did and what the student had to do to get that standard. I mean, you could put all that in there.
Yep.
That way if-
And you can even put in a piece of evidence to prove the standard.
True. Yeah.
So when somebody's looking at it from the outside, when they click on that badge and go into the earning criteria, they could see all that right there.
Mhm. I like that part of it, that the proof of it,
Mm-hmm.
because then that really, I mean, when we're talking competency-based education and we want to have a variety of summative assessments, then that would have that flexibility to put that in there. I mean, if somebody did a video or if somebody wrote a
Right.
paper or somebody, I mean, it could be a test, but it could be a lot of other things.
We were using portfolios up until now for a lot of that stuff, but the badging is nice because that can go out of Canvas, that can go to other organizations, things like that, where e-portfolios are a little harder to move
Yeah.
and than these badgers, it looks like anyway.
Well, because they're not, I don't think the portfolios are standardized like the badge,
Right.
I say, for that transferability.
Mm-hmm.
I think the badges are not catching on because they don't understand the depth of what they can do for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of like QR codes. QR codes are ones that I thought are cool. They're hot. But people don't use them as much as they could be used. I mean, same thing with this badge. It's kind of the same philosophy. I just don't think they understand. I think they think it's just fluff.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the marketing piece, of it. Like, nobody owns a QR code and nobody owns, like a QR code concept. Nobody's making money off the QR code concept. Nobody's making money off the badge or badging system concept. And so there's no one who has a financial investment to go and market it to make people understand it.
Mhm.
I
Right.
remember when the QR codes first came out, and it was frustrating for me because you had to have an app. You had to download the QR code app. Well, now you can use your phone, your camera on your cell phone.
Camera.
And
Yeah.
poked up. So now I'm like, oh, okay, if I can use my camera, I tried it one day, I don't know, actually just this summer. And I was like, oh, cool, I can just use my camera. Because I was like, oh, shoot, I got to find the app on my phone. And somebody said, just use the camera. So now that you can do that, you know, seems like it would be much more prevalent that people would use it. But I don't think people know, they see that QR code and they don't even know what it means.
Right. And I don't understand that. It's like, why don't they understand what it means? But you're right. Nobody's promoting that part.
Right.
Same thing, I think, with the badges, because, you know, I didn't realize that you could do standards with it. And doing that is an awesome piece. And for like our piece, we could definitely use that and put all the different states, because every state has a different standard.
Yeah.
It'd be great if it was national, you know, because it would make it so much easier for everybody. And even when you move, you know, so, but the science standards are now national, so those help. But I think it'd be a great way to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Gail.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That'd be great.
Anytime.
So yeah, and then we'll reconnect again sometime this school year and see how it's going.
Yeah.